What's your favourite biscuit with tea, by the way?
Custard creams.
Ginger nut.
Oh.
Custard cream's not a bad one either. Hey guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Premier Division show. Delighted to welcome JP back on, and myself, Keith Fitzsimons, here as usual. JP, what's the crack?
Sweet.
Yeah, happy enough. We'll get into Waterford and Derry later on. We'll start off at Weavers Park, where Drogheda United got their second win of the season, thanks to a 3-1 win at home to Sligo Rovers. It puts Drogheda now 3 points behind Sligo on the table with a game in hand. Now, that game in hand is against Shamrock Rovers, but that's another story, I suppose. But great win for them on Friday night. Will Fitzgerald gets Sligo an early lead. Former Derry, of course, after 7 minutes. Darren Markey equalised in 24. Very good strike. Perot penalty on 70 minutes. And McNally with a very good goal, actually, to seal it near the end, 86 minutes to make it 3-1. And I suppose from Drogheda's point of view, JP, a big win. I felt like a win was coming for Drogheda after a good few draws and not a bad defeat at Daly meant, let's say. Massive win for them. Sligo starting to struggle now after a very good start, and they've 3 or 4 lads out injured, and it's really affecting them. And the problem there is that most teams are going to have 3 or 4 lads out injured at some point, you know what I mean? But it's really affecting Sligo, which maybe suggests their squad isn't that strong. We did suggest that before. We were a bit worried about that. And they obviously got off to the perfect start, but Drogheda actually started well in this game, actually, funnily enough. Perot had a chance. He had another chance after that as well, the goal that Fitzgerald got. I think Eaton Barr could have done better with the goal, personally. Like, it was a good move, but I don't know. I thought he could have got his hand to it. Markey's goal was good. Markey was very good in this game. One of the things Markey, I often think, if he could add to his game, is goals. That's his first goal this season. Everything else he does is brilliant, to be fair. If he could add goals to his game, well, I suppose there might be other clubs higher up the table looking at him as well, if that was the case. But look, it's a superb win for Drogheda, badly needed. Sligo, as I said, disappointing. How do you see it overall?
Aye, it's what I expected, Keith, was this result they take place.
Yeah,
Called it 2-1 myself.
close. Very
Yeah,
close, actually. 86 minutes.
yeah, exactly. I thought Drogheda were due one. But as we know, you have to earn them, and I think Drogheda did earn this one. And as you said, they'd 4 draws in a row, and 2 of them came both at home against Shelbourne and Derry, and like it was a very good one for them. You say now moves them within a couple of points of Sligo, who had that excellent start, and now sort of drifted back to where we expected them to be. Um, and it's all because of injuries and stuff like that. And that's what we did say at the start of the season when they were on that nice run, that it was very likely that they were gonna that was gonna happen. And you touched on it there. Most teams will go through a period in the season where that will happen them. But the only thing I seen in this game was McNally's goal, and I thought it was a very good goal, very well taken. I've seen Perot in action last year in the FAI Cup for Athlone in the Brandywell, and I thought he was excellent that day. He fed off scraps, but he did well. And obviously he came off a bench and scored the equaliser against Derry, and he's now got 2 goals in space of 3 or 4 games. And
Came off
Drogheda
the
will
bench in Daly meant last week in the 1-0 defeat, but he was a handful when he came off, so maybe he's starting to get a bit confident now.
yeah, and you see it, like it takes a while they settle at the club. Um, and I think maybe that's all it was. He just needed his first goal to settle him down, and he's done that now. And that monkey's off his back, and he's now got another goal for himself, putting himself about, making himself a real handful. Darren Murky's also got off a mark, as you say, he was always a player that you felt if he could add goals this game would be seen as a better player. And um, Drogheda, uh, Sligo will be disappointed with it. They'll be disappointed with the kind of run that they're in, but they probably coming into the season would have expected to go through this type of run. But they'll be happy that they're going through this run now and not at the start or the end, where it's happening now. They've plenty of time to address it. They have a few points on the board, so pressure's not completely on. Um, but for Drogheda, it's a really important one. But coming off the back of a defeat at Daly Mount, but at the same time with Dundalk winning as well, it makes this result for Drogheda really, really important. Because they'll want to stay ahead of Dundalk, obviously, because Dundalk are at the bottom. But yeah, it was the result that we called, and no real surprises that it came off.
Yeah, speaking about Dundalk, it finished Dundalk 2, Bohemians 0 at Oriel Park. Dundalk's first win of the season, hard to believe after 12 games. First goals of the season at Oriel Park as well, having gone 5 games at Oriel, a record 5 games at Oriel without actually scoring a goal. But I actually watched this game back, JP, fully, to be honest with you, because usually if I'm vlogging a game, I'll watch one game back. It's usually the Pats game I'll watch back if I'm vlogging a different game. But because I was vlogging Shelbourne and Pats, I decided to watch this one back. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the typical manager bounce or not. We'll have to see in a couple of weeks, won't we, with Noel King coming in there. But Dundalk were outstanding in this game. Like, surprise! I swear to God, they were surprisingly good. Like, even with a kick, you know what I mean? I expected them to be, okay, they might be a bit, but they were brilliant. And they could have beaten, on this performance, nearly
3-4-5.
anybody in the league, huh?
3-4-5 it could have been for them.
Yeah, easily. And I know Bowes missed the penalty, but that penalty was a 2-0, and Dundalk could have had 4 or 5 easily by that point. And Dale Rooney hits the post from a free. But overall, Dundalk, they kind of ran through them. They played a completely different game. They were getting players forward in numbers, attacking very quickly, very direct, creating chance after chance after chance, because they haven't been creating chances. Not that they have been missing chances. They haven't been creating chances. And Scott High and Benson obviously scored 2 fantastic goals, particularly the second one from Benson. Although I will say for High's goal, takes it well. But how many touches is he allowed to take and look up before? I mean, Bowes don't close him down at all, so Bowes have to be very disappointed with that. And I'm sure Reynolds will be very disappointed with that. Benson's was probably a better goal, probably a little less time as well, and he really caught that one sweetly. But Chiritzka made some good saves in the game as well, including one brilliant save in this game. I think it might have been from Gullen in the second half. And Dundalk, to be honest, should have had a penalty. Archie Davis was fouled. Did you see that? Did you see that?
I've seen it, yeah. I've
How
seen
did
the
the
highlights.
referee's right beside it, though?
I think he needs his lineman there to help him. I think it's just because of where was it Benson that was fouled? I think it's just because it's so close to the edge.
Archie Davis was fouled, actually.
Archie Davis.
Mm.
When he tumbles out of the box, so the referee gives the free kick. But I think the linesman needs to help him there and say, look, it's inside the box. But it was incredible. That
Bear
it
in
wasn't.
mind, just in case some people don't know, the line it counts as the box as well. So if someone's
And it
fouled the
wasn't
line,
even on the line, Keith. It was
no, it was
inside the
inside
line.
the box.
Inside the line, like it wasn't just on the line. It was
Yeah,
inside it.
yeah.
So I think Rob Hennessy should have seen that himself as well. I think, but I will excuse him because of Archie Davis, the way he tumbled. He ended up outside the box, but yeah, it was for a bit of
Could you
refereeing.
imagine, especially with Dundalk's luck, if the score was 0-0 and that happened or something like?
Or Bowes come back and got back into the game,
Mm,
like because I think James Akintunde had missed the penalty previous to that, didn't he? Like
mm,
so,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
the
no,
penalty
I
from.
really enjoyed. Sorry, I really enjoyed this 10 minutes of highlights. It was it really was. I'm not sure what it was like to watch in full, but
Oh, it was very good to watch, but particularly from the Dundalk point of view, I'm not going to lie, Bohemians fans wouldn't have liked it at all.
the 10 minutes highlights was really good viewing. Um, very entertaining actually.
Mm.
2 great strikes. Good strike by Scott Hay. I think that was his first goal of the season, was it? Um,
They've only
and
scored
I
5 goals, bear in mind, so it's easy to remember who got the goals.
and I spoke previously on a previous show, and I think it might have been after Derry played Dundalk, and said that the likes of Benson, Horgan, Andy Boyle, John Mountney, all these type of players now are going to be really important for Dundalk in the manner that they're in, and um, really help the players that are there. And Horgan seemed to be influential in this
Mm,
game for
mm.
Dundalk. He was at the heart of everything they created. I think at 1-0 he put a great ball on the back post, and John Mountney was so close to getting on the end of it. He's set up the 2 goals. He's been involved in the 2 goals, and it's him, Benson, John Mountney, Andy Boyle, And then if now got, I think No King, I'd be interested to see why he brings his own backroom team in, or he sticks with Brian Gertland and Liam Burns, because he did credit these two for the.
It depends whether Gartland wants to be involved in that sense or not, because he's director of operations. It's a kind of different role, isn't it? Really, like you know.
Yeah, so um, but it was a really really positive performance from
Mm.
Dundalk, because we have seen over the course of the season that everything was just so negative and stuff like that. And we did see the three games that Gartland and Burns were in charge of the team. There was a reaction because they weren't conceding the chances that they'd been passing up under O'Donnell, um, and they were making themselves hard to beat. And I thought Bows would win this because they were coming in there on the back of three wins in a week. And Reynolds touched on it, saying that when they're good, they're good. When they're bad, and there doesn't seem to be any in between. And look, I'm not going to take anything away from Dundalk. You have to give them full credit because it's without doubt their best performance of the season, and they've got the 3 points. I'm sure there was a wee bit of deflation when they came off and saw that Drogheda had won as well, because
Mm.
nothing has changed in terms of the gap between them and Drogheda. But they'll not be too downhearted. They'll take this result. They'll use it. I think they're home to Shelbourne next, so it's another chance for the. I was really pleased to see that there was a good crowd at Oriel Park as well. That the fans are still there, still get behind them, show the support, and they'll be needing them. I think is it Shelbourne to play
It is,
next week?
yeah,
It was, yeah,
yeah.
and it's at Oriel Park, and they'll be looking for fans to come out in force again and really get behind them, and see what they can do. And look, it remains to be seen if it's a new manager bounce or one game.
Mm. The
And
encouraging thing
that's
for me is the change, a total change in style, though, I suppose. And,
yeah,
you know, they weren't getting players forward. They weren't attacking. They were playing kind of slowly, ponderous football. But I think the key man for me, I thought he was brilliant again, is Robbie Benson, because if you can get him fit, he's been fit now the last I think he's played 90 minutes or near enough start in the last 5 or 6 games, and he's really grown and grown and grown. He was outstanding in this game, and he's as good as anybody in midfield if he's fit, like, isn't
yeah,
he? He's brilliant.
he
But the
is.
worry is he can break down at any second.
Yeah, and he's probably going to have to be managed. But if you can get 60, 70, 75 minutes out of him,
Mm.
um, and get the game won and get him off and manage his workload, you're doing well. Sure, Robbie will want to play 90 minutes every week, but he'll know his own body and stuff like that. And as I said, Keith, there a few moments ago, it's about getting him, Horgan, John Mountney, Andy Boyle, these type of characters who've been there, played in the Europa League group stages, won league titles, won doubles, nearly won a treble. They're now at the opposite end of that, and
Mm.
it's up to these now. They drag these new players, young players, whatever it is, through this period, and keep themselves within touching distance of the pack. They don't want to get adrift. These are the players now that Dundalk are going to be looking upon. They drive them forward, especially under Noel King, as we said at last week's show. 21 years since he's managed in the League of Ireland men's. Um, yeah, he has been about the scene, and he'll know. It's not like he's just coming in. He hasn't managed or coached in 21 years. He'll know what has changed, etc., etc. But he'll be relying on these players now. They help him too. So, look, really positive from Dundalk for Bows on an overnight. Even though they were totally outplayed, they could have got something out of the game. As I said, Dale Rooney hits a post with a free kick. Akintunde misses a penalty, which was really, really poor.
Mm. I thought the
Um,
penalty was a bit harsh as well. I thought McDade just fell over.
yeah, you could say that, but I thought there was. Um, Again, I'm not going to criticize the referee because I think there was a bit of a tackle in there, and McDade sort of left himself in there, hoping to be make contact, and
I think they were
he
lucky to
wasn't
get it,
enough.
though, let's say. as
Yeah,
such.
yeah, you
You know what
could
I mean? It
say,
wasn't like what you would say clear penalty and a goal scoring situation. They were fortunate to get the lifeline, but they blew the lifeline, as you said. And that might have panicked Dundalk a bit all of a sudden. 2-1. They haven't been getting results and wins. They might have thought, geez, we're after outplaying these in the first half, and now it's 2-1 with about 20-ish minutes to go. So it
yeah,
might have panicked them.
that's what my point was on an hour night. Both could have got something because if they take that penalty,
Mm.
then Dundalk, who haven't won a game all year, hadn't they? They hadn't won a game all year. They would have been, oh God, what's going to happen here now? And all of a sudden, they could have been on the back foot. But look, you have to give credit to Dundalk. Fair play to
Mm.
them. They took a game to Bulls. They got the 2 goals before half time and um deserved all 3 points. And they'll be hoping now that they can kick on.
Yeah, I think quickly, just from Ball's point of view, like they're still doing okay in terms of where they are in the table, in my opinion. They're fourth. I mean, if they finish there at the end of the season, I'd be delighted with that. I think personally, honestly, but I think it kind of just calmed down Ball's fans a little bit who thought they might be in a title race after a couple of wins in a row. I mean,
Like last
honestly,
year.
you can't go from one extreme to the other after a couple of wins. Like at one stage, it was like, geez, we could get relegated, and a couple of games later, we could challenge for the title. Look, they're not going to get relegated, but they're not going to challenge for the title either. Like they're going to be in and around that area. It'll just be interesting to see where they land,
Somewhere between
essentially.
4 and 7, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Talca Park finished Shelbourne 1, St Patrick's Athletic 0. I was at this game, I was vlogging it, obviously. John Martin's goal in 33 minutes, his second of the season. Yeah, I think he got winner against Galway as well earlier on. So he's a man for the winners. But Shelbourne first win in 5. It's hard to believe the team leading the top of the table, first team in 5, win in 5. Like, you know what I mean? But 3 points clear at Derry. 5 of Shamrock Rovers. That could change on Monday night if Shamrock Rovers could beat Drogheda United. Of course, it could go to 2 points because that's their game in hand on Monday night. But yeah, decent performance for Shells. Decent performance, but they could have won it by 2 or 3 goals to nil, to be honest with you. Deserved to win the game fully. Pats, 6 defeats now, JP, the same as Dundalk. What are they, 4 points ahead of Drogheda. Drogheda have 2 games in hand on Pats as well. It's not, I haven't really said an awful lot on the show about it, but look, I don't think Pats are in a good place at all. The first 20 minutes, a lot of people would say Pats controlled the game because they had possession of the ball. I personally didn't think they controlled the game at all. I think Shelbourne let Pats have the ball, basically. Talca Park, as you know, the pitch is very bobbly. Pats are trying to play it around, but it's very slow, very pedestrian, across the back, to the left, deep into midfield, back again. You know, this kind of football.
Yeah.
Going nowhere. Shell's sitting in their shape. That's fine. They're thinking, well, let's just have it for a while. Let's just think you're in control, and then bang, we'll pounce. And that's what they've done. Inevitably, Pats are going to make little errors, I think, playing like that. I said this to you off air. I've probably first time said on air. I personally don't think you can play that way in the League of Ireland, to be honest with you, that possession football, because it requires high technical ability as well to break down opposition who, in Shelbourne's case, are very well organised. And there's more of a chance, like Man City might play like that, but they're not going to make the mistakes most League of Ireland teams make. In particular, especially even Shamrock Rovers, don't play that kind of football. And I can see what John Daly's trying to do, but for me, it just doesn't work in this league. And what inevitably happens is, the opposition will pounce, take advantage of a mistake, a bad pass, an under-hit pass or something like that, and all of a sudden, Pats are a little bit disorganised, or Pats will end up kicking it long to an isolated forward. In this case, it was young Mason Melia. It's not working for me. There's no sign of a change. They've had 4 wins in 13, probably 2 good performances in 13. The squad, you would suggest, well, they've the 3rd biggest budget in the league. They're 7 points off Derry, for example, in 2nd. Could be 7 points off 3rd if Shamrock Rovers win tomorrow night, and only 4 points ahead of 9th. From a Pat's point of view, you'd have to ask questions there, JP, surely.
Yeah. Yeah. They won the cup last year, and that's where you expected them to kick on
Or at least
and
maintain.
maintain it, and really put Derry and Shamrock Rovers under pressure. We expected if Derry and Rovers were off it at anywhere over the course of the early part of the season, the Pats would have been the team to take advantage.
Mm.
That has been Shelbourne. as you say, they haven't won in 5, but they're still top of the table. That's really because of how inconsistent Derry and Shamrock Rovers have been. I don't see it being like that come the end of the season. I think either Derry or Rovers or both will get a bit of consistency going. Once the season starts to settle down, because I think it's just been whole gung ho at the minute. With so every so often we're having Friday, Monday, Friday fixtures. And I think there's another set coming up
I'm really not a fan
next
of
week.
them, but anyway.
So, um, yeah, look, Shelbourne, as they say, they went on that 6 match winning streak. Drew the first game, went on a 6 match winning streak, and that's what has them in front of Derry and Shamrock Rovers now at this moment in time. They would have expected that anyway. They would have expected not not that they would have expected. They would have expected Derry and Rovers to come back at them eventually. I think when you take from Derry or from St. Pat's point of view, the 6 defeats in the first 13 games is not good for a team that won the cup last year. Could have finished second. Probably should have finished second. And they are where they are, and they got their business done quickly. But did they get the right personnel is the question. And I think they made a good signing in Brandon Kavanagh. I really do. He was outstanding in the first half last week at the Brandywell. Could have had a goal, could have had an assist. And I thought he was Pat's, apart from Forrester, I thought he was Pat's brightest spark last week. Rory Keaton doesn't seem to be doing the business, but you would know more than me. Maybe that's down to the service he's getting.
That'd be my
Um,
opinion. It would be, yeah. I mean, Melia played the other night against Shelbourne, and sure it was the same thing. And Keane Kavanagh came on, and it was the same thing. So you know what I mean? Like it's there's not. It's just when it is played up to them, it's usually hoofed up long, and there's no support. And I know I've talked about that before, but it's just the way they try and play. It's very slow. It's very deliberate. I think they're about 70% possession against Drogheda and in Weavers Park a few weeks ago. And Drogheda were the better side, played exactly the way Shelbourne played. They look like a side that are easy to figure out, kind of easy to play against. And I just think that style of football in this league, it just doesn't work. And it's no sign of it changing, in my opinion. And for
one
me,
thing
you
we
have
do
to ask
know,
serious questions.
one thing we do know about Shelbourne is that they're going to make it difficult for you. They're going to let you
Mm,
have the ball. They're going to sit in. They're going to say to you, "Look, you break us down."
mm,
They're going to do that to any team.
mm.
Like
But let alone a team that likes to play it passively and slowly.
they're going to do that to any team. They're going to sit in, and what you have to do is get numbers forward.
Yeah.
If you get numbers forward, um, you'll stand a good chance of breaking them down. But if you just keep numbers behind the ball
Mm,
and pass it and shit, that eventually it's going to break down, and Shelbourne are
mm.
going to hit you on the counter or try and win a set piece. And they John Martin took a really good finish. And you said it could have been 2 or 3 in this game.
Yeah, the other chance, Tyre Wilson chance, Will Jarvis had a good chance. I think he should have scored from. Gavin Malloy forces a good save from Rogers. Pats had one chance, really, Mulroney free kick for all the possession, you know what I mean? Which was close-ish, but not really close. But they were in complete control in what they were trying to do, Shelbourne. But the thing was with Shelbourne, to be fair as well, apart from anything else, like they are greater than the sum of their parts. And I do think that's down to their manager. It really is. I mean, they look like they're a real unit. There's a togetherness. He's brought a togetherness there at the club, let alone the pitch. You know what I mean? He really has, to be fair to him. The players buy into everything. The work ethic and the desire is there for all to see. And, you know, they do have good players, but he's also got the best out of players that might have been struggling before. I'll give an example. Tyreek Wilson was struggling at Bowes. He's been outstanding for Shelbourne. Do you know what I mean? Since he came in,
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant at left back for Shelbourne. He always was a good player, but he was struggling at Bowes. He's been brilliant. But then you look at Pats and you nearly say completely the opposite that I've just said. So you kind of have to wonder why that's the case, or, you know, do they need to be looking at the manager now at this point as well? Because, you know, I watched Dundalk play the other night, as I mentioned, and live, and obviously they changed their manager, and it could be manager Benson, blah, 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 and all that. But Pats are capable of playing like that. with the players they have, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah,
it just
well,
looks like the players have lost. I don't know if they've belief in what they're trying to do. I think they understand what they're trying to do, but they don't believe it's going to work. That's what it
well,
looks like to me.
from getting at a manager point of view, it's they'll have a look at the situation, they'll assess the situation, see what their targets were at the start of the season,
Mm.
and they'll see how far off that they are. Obviously, they would have been probably expecting to be challenging Derry and Shamrock Rovers for the title. They're not doing that, so they scale it back now. They look at right. Well, the next target was to qualify for Europe. We're only 4 points off fourth place. If we get into fourth, we stand a good chance of getting into Europe,
Mm. But it
as we've
doesn't
seen.
guarantee Europe, of course, and
Yeah, I know that.
they have
That's what I.
played more.
Yeah, keep
Yeah,
fourth doesn't, but you get into fourth place, you stand a good chance of
yeah.
qualifying for
You'd
Europe.
like to think it
Well,
would. Yeah.
if the cup winners, which it has happened over the last 12 years, um, the cup winners have come in the top three.
Mm.
So that's what they'll look at. If they start to get cut adrift of the top four,
Mm.
that's when they might react. Um, but I'm sure 6 defeats. I'm sure anybody associated with Pats will be disappointed with that. Um, but they'll be looking now and saying, right,
Mm.
let's see how we can fare now over the next 4 or 5 games. Get us into May, June, prepare for Europe, and see how far off we are. And then that's when they might make the decision when, um, if things start to go wrong at that point. But look, it, they didn't. They looked like a good team in the first half against Derry last week. They just didn't have that finishing instinct, and I think that's what their problem is at the minute.
Mm. RSC have finished Waterford FC 0, Derry City 2, Patchin penalty 38-minute, Hooban on 75 minutes. His ninth goal in 11 games. And I was just thinking that Hooban goal, I've not mentioned this before, but in this particular game, Kelly does very well, but he has about 1 second to get in and nip that into the net, Hooban. You know what I mean? Before it's cleared or the keeper grasps it a second time. And last year, the keeper just comes out and grasps that a second time. You know what I mean? It's a massive goal and it seals the game. The penalty in 38 minutes from Patcham was a nice penalty. It was a foul, in my opinion, on Kelly. Could it have been a red card, though? Because, I mean, Kelly probably scores if he's not fouled, does he not?
Well, it's well or the referee
Robbie McCourt,
determined.
I think, he made the foul.
Like, well, it's well the referee determines Robbie McCourt's trying to play the
Mm.
ball in the tackle, which you could make an argument for that as well.
Yeah, it's
So
fair.
it's not decisive that he's
Mm.
deliberately wiped Kelly out.
Mm.
Um, he he could have just, you know what, I'm going to take a chance here and hope that the referee gives me a yellow card, which he did do. But really good penalty by Patson. We've seen him miss a few penalties. And I think Coban's hit the couple of penalties we've had this season, which was quite surprising. Um, they see Patson getting the ball for this one, but Hoban took one against Waterford in the home game, so they probably thought we'll switch it up and see
There
what
was
we can
no
do.
argument over the penalty anyway.
No, so it's wondering as well Patson the penalty taker regardless, but
Mm.
Hoban 9 goals and 9 starts. It's exactly what Derry were missing. If you look at this the, the penalty was a breakaway, I think, from a Waterford corner. And I don't think Derry. It started in the Derry City box anyway. I know that. Um, and Derry haven't done that enough this season. Is when they get the ball, get it forward, and it was down the line. And Danny Mullen, he put it across to Kelly. Kelly wins the penalty, and I think Coben might have actually played the ball. They Mullen. I'm not
He
hundred
did
percent sure.
actually, yeah. Yeah, he did, yeah.
Um, so all three front men linked up, but on that occasion, they get Derry the lead. And the second goal was brilliant work from Daniel Kelly. Gets the
Mm.
strike away. It's not the cleanest of strikes. Keeper probably will be disappointed because there's not a lot of power in it. He's just bobbed it away, and Oban just scores a poacher's goal and lashes it in the back of net and asks questions later. But I'm really delighted for Daniel Kelly that because that's a couple of assists, 2 assists in the one game, and then he got one against Shamrock Rovers. Still, the jury's still out with him with some people, so I'm delighted that he's starting to get goal involvements now.
Yeah, see,
And
JP, I think he's the type of player, though, that needs the ball quickly, though, to get in
yeah,
behind. He's not really a build-up player, if that makes sense.
I think he's not even a player that's gonna
Whereas
kick it.
McMullen's a bit better in that sense, if you know what I mean.
I don't think Daniel Kelly's a player that'll take you on. you get the ball in them when there's a bit of space.
Yeah.
That's when he'll do the damage. He'll get you up the field and
Mm.
he'll get you in the position, which he did do. He great bit of dribbling for the second goal. But look, it's for Derry. It was their first away win of the season, and that's one as we touched on there in the Shelbourne game. But Shelbourne haven't won in five, but are still top of the league, and this is one of the reasons why, because Derry hadn't won away from home. Yeah, they had the late draw against Rovers, the late draw against um Drogheda. So
Mm.
that's 4 points where they dropped late on. So Rory Higgins, Derry City, but delighted that they've got this away win. Another away game next Friday against Galway, which is going to be difficult. Galway beat them in the Brandywell, obviously. So they'll be looking, they owe Galway one for that game. Um, Waterford, the two games I've seen them this year, been really disappointed. I thought they started okay in the first 10, 15 minutes, didn't really do anything with it. After that, there it was just all Derry.
Mm.
Controlled the game, and oh yeah, Padraig Hammond hit the bar in the second half. I thought Derry defended really well, especially when they went 2-0 up. They really hung on there for the clean sheet. Not that Brian Maher was busy. The
Mm.
fence was just clear and everything came at them. And look, Waterford probably are where we expected them to be at this stage, at this point in the season. Um, and we have said in the past that maybe the fans are expecting a wee bit more. But if they just stick with them and keep their keep the lid on it, then Waterford will pick up points at home. Um,
I think their
with
little issue is a bit similar to Sligo. I think if they're missing three or four first team players, I think their squad is shorter. I think them and Sligo have the weakest squads, if you know what I mean, in terms of depth, in my personal opinion. Be interested to see what people think about that, but that's my personal opinion. Um, and obviously Sligo at the moment, without talking about them too much, are missing key men. But what if we were to miss, say, Amond even, I think it'd be a massive thing, like, because he has
yeah,
been the fulcrum to their attack. And I know he relies on service, but he is the fulcrum to their attack. And I know they're missing Barry Bagley, who's probably, in my opinion, their best midfield player. And that probably, they lose a bit of something there as well with him missing, you know?
yeah, and we saw a couple of games Derry was without Pat Hoban or a fully fit Pat Hoban.
Mm.
They struggled as well, but the last couple of games, Rory seemed to have changed the tactics, gone two up top, Danny Mullen, Pat Hoban. Has he been forced into it because of the lack of numbers in midfield? I don't know.
Still
Or has he been
refreshing to see that, though, isn't it?
pressing to see? Yes, and hopefully when we've got the numbers back, it continues to be that way. Obviously, in certain games, you're going to have to adjust it and
Mm.
not be as open because it could be damaging.
Mm.
But look, it's two really good results off the back of a poor result against Shamrock Rovers, which was 15 minutes of madness, really.
Mm.
But they come out with 6 points, scored a few goals, conceded one. Um, they'll be absolutely delighted and they'll be full of confidence going into the Galway game next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It finished Shamrock Rovers 1, Galway United 1 at Tallaght Stadium. This was a big surprise, JP, I suppose, and almost a massive surprise because Johnny Kenny equalised with about 5 minutes to go. And I suppose one thing you mentioned there before that about Derry City, since the Rovers game, they've got 6 points. Well, Shamrock Rovers since the Derry game have got 2 points. So that'd be disappointing for them. They have, in fairness though, and people say that's Shamrock Rovers, but they have been missing 6, 7 players all season. Just as well they've a good squad because I think
Yeah,
they'd be struggling even more. Like, to be fair to them, but I wonder if it's a case if it's going to be like that for them all season though. It could possibly be, and everyone else will be delighted with that. Every other team, but they'd be disappointed. They had a lot of possession. They had over 70% possession. They had a lot of chances. Not too many clear cut. But they did miss a penalty through Dylan Watts on 48 minutes. He hasn't scored this season, surprisingly, too. Clark does well, I suppose, to get down and save it. You always have to give the keeper some credit when they save a penalty. Wouldn't have hit it the way he liked, Watts. The penalty itself, a little bit harsh, did you think, on Borden? It is a handball, but I'm trying to think back. I watched it 2 days ago. I'm trying to think back. Does he have his hand out, or does it he kind of turned his back a bit, didn't he?
turns his back and I think his hands is up and
But then
I
again, if you
think
turn your back, you'd nearly kind of say you get what you deserve.
yeah, exactly. And as I said about the two penalties in the Dundalk game, or one penalty and the one not given,
Mm.
I'm not going to argue with the referee on that
No, it's not
because
one of them where that's a disgrace
one
either
of them
way. Yeah,
place
yeah.
for it. No, So I think, look, yeah, look, he gave it, and I think you could maybe say 99% of the time, penalties like that are going to be given. I think one thing was he was really quick to give it, which means he was probably confident in his decision. So, um, look, you said it's a real shock. It wasn't in terms of that we both predicted Shamrock Rovers to win it, but at the end of the day, we weren't entirely surprised either that Galway came away from Tala with something. They held them to the 85th minute at Immendeasy Park earlier in the season. They were 1-0 up to the 85th minute this in Tala. Quite similar goal to what they got in the Brandywell. Just a forward, and Stephen Walsh finishes it off.
Same player.
And if they come away from Tala with 3 points, it would have been an absolute brilliant result for them. It would have been even better than the result in the Brandywell. But look, Rovers, you always have to go right to the end. So I think, was it last year, Cork went to Tala and were 3-1 up. And then I think it was an injury caused extra time to be added on to injury time. And Rovers came back and got a point out of that game. And then that's what they do. They don't give up. They draw you in, they have full sense of security. And then all of a sudden they just hit you. Like Dylan Watts missed that penalty. If that goes in, they could maybe go on and win it.
Yeah.
2 or 3-0. But Brendan Clark uses all his experience, saves the penalty, keeps Galway in the game. Galway go take a lead a few minutes later, and then they've got something to hang on to. And look, fair play to them. Like they've played 13 games, they've scored 7 and conceded 7, which is quite remarkable. Like, and I don't see them scoring many goals this season, but at the same time, I don't see them conceding many either.
And you talk about teams that are overachieving and underachieving. At this minute in time, they're definitely overachieving, aren't they? 100%.
I think when you look
fifth on the table,
when you look throughout the league, and this is Dundalk included, Galway probably have the weakest squad, man for man. But what they have is two managers. They've got a manager and assistant manager on the sideline that know how to set teams up. That have been here and done it. One's won the league title. One's kept a team unfancied in the Premier Division for 3 years or whatever. Won a couple of playoffs. He knows how they both collectively know what it takes to be competitive in the Premier Division, and that is the big plus for Galway, regardless of who they've got on the pitch. If they've got those two on the sideline, on the training ground, whatever, that's what they'll need going forward. And if they can pick up a point here and there away from home, and a win here and there at home, they'll be okay.
I suppose the only thing for the equaliser, I think Brendan Clark will be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it as soon as the Derry game was over.
Yeah.
We put on the Rovers game. They watched the end of that, and whenever we saw the replay, I thought the keeper's got to do better. Especially
he knew it himself. He kind of made a bit of an aggressive. You know what I mean?
I think it was one of them. Look, I never played football at a professional level, so I'm not going to tell him how he should have made the save. But you're looking at it and you're thinking, has he tried to flick that over the bar rather than trying to get something on it just to keep it out? Is he thinking of, if he parries it, somebody's going to tap it in, and then he's trying to flick it to get it over the bar, and it's gone in anyway. So yeah, he'd be disappointed, but at the same time, he'd be looking back and saying, well, I saved the penalty, kept my team in the game. So look,
yeah, you can't be too critical there.
Rovers will be disappointed that they went to Brandywell and won, and they've now come away with 2 draws.
I think if they got the draw at Shelbourne and won this game, they would have said that's okay, you know.
Yeah, they would have. But look, what they do is they still have that cushion of a game in hand. They get themselves back in there, and that's tomorrow night. And it's against Drogheda, who are difficult, who won a Tala last year, so it won't be straightforward for them. Well, I don't think it will be anyway. Yeah, good point for Galway. Rovers will be disappointed, but having coming from behind and missed the penalty as well, they'll take it definitely.
Yeah, the only disappointment for Galway coming from the game is that Dervin went off injured after 46 minutes, maybe a minute or two in the second half. He's been brilliant for them this season.
Stephen Walsh came on.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Yeah, they changed it, didn't they? They changed the system around, but in a general sense, Dervin has been very good, probably been their best midfielder this year, and it was a hefty tackle actually by Sean Kavanagh. To be fair, I mean, it wasn't like it was malicious, but it was a hefty tackle. So I don't know what the injury is there.
Was
But the
that the
fact he had to
one
go
in
off
the
immediately,
highlights? Was that the one in the highlights where I think
got
Guy
booked.
Horgan got a yellow
Sorry,
card for?
Bradley and got booked, and Horgan got
Yeah,
booked.
Stephen
Yeah,
Bradley and Horgan,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I thought it was quite hefty myself.
Mm,
Yeah, he
mm.
comes through
Not saying
and
a
gets the
red or
ball.
anything, but I'm not sure if he even got a
No,
yellow
I
for
don't
it.
think it's a red. No. When I first saw it, I thought I'd love to see that again, just to
Mm,
see. But when you do see the replay, he does get the ball, and it's the follow through
mm.
that catches Dervin and ultimately puts him out of the game. So you could say that it was a free kick and a yellow card to Kavanagh, but again, it's not one that you're going to be overly critical of the referee about.
Mm. Brilliant stuff, JP. We'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on,
Thank
guys
you.
at home. Let us know what you think of the games. Subscribe, and thanks for watching. Cheers, JP.
Thank you, Keith.